Happy spooky season, everyone. I'm Stoney Keeley, and on this month's episode of the SoBros Hot Minute, I want to talk to you a little bit about my hometown, Gladeville, Tennessee. Now look, if you were to drive through Gladeville, Tennessee, you wouldn't think it looks like very much, alright? It's basically a four-way stop, a handful of churches, and a couple good eating spots. But it was a fantastic place to grow up in during the 90s when it was even less crowded than it is now. When you think about all the space and all the woods that occupy Gladeville, it's easy to see that it is a place where legends can grow. And I just recently heard tale of the Vesta Monster, which is something that I'm surprised I haven't heard of before because I'm into all kinds of weird shit. I love stories about cryptids and ghosts and all this stuff. And I do think there is something that's kind of inherently weird about Gladeville. I don't quite know what it is. If you guys are familiar with the concept of ley lines, like places on a map that are hotbeds of supernatural activity. Maybe it is just the isolated nature of driving around town deep in the woods at night while you're not sharing the road with a bunch of people. But I grew up in this town with all sorts of weird things happening, from Myers Road, Couchville Pike, Central Pike, Underwood Road. Had a couple of friends that lived over on Underwood that, like, once we got to their house, I was in for the night. I didn't want to be driving home through that part of town. Pitch black, nobody else out. But as I grew up, I always kind of rationalized those things as that's just me being paranoid. But then somebody starts a thread in Hip Gladeville. I mean, at this point, it's been years ago, and starts talking about like ghost sightings in the area and about how there's a ghost that plays on the porch of what used to be the old general store downtown. And I remember ghost stories about lights coming off and on in Gladeville Elementary. And I thought, you know what? Okay, maybe I'm not so crazy to have experienced all this weird stuff around town growing up. And that's when I saw a post about the Vesta Monster. And I just wanted to share a few comments with you guys in honor of spooky season. If there's a better time to relive this story or introduce yourself to it, I can't think of it. So the general consensus is that this is some sort of cat-like creature that is like the size of a panther. It's like a panther that can run through treetops and scream like a woman, is what I'm gathering. I'm going to share a few Facebook comments that kind of elaborate the story. There's not a lot of information. Like, there's no article. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should take that upon myself to be the journalist that actually goes out there and just captures the legend of the Vesta Monster. I don't know. No promises. It's football season. I got a lot of other work going on. But we do kind of have to piece together testimony from Gladeville citizens to get this legend together. All names are being redacted for the sake of anonymity. The area was once the home of a large Black Panther-type wildcat. The old farmers who congregated every morning at the Glade store spoke of it as factual and well-witnessed creature. It was said to have killed dogs when cornered and much larger than any known indigenous wildcats. Sightings ranged from the mid-1950s until the 1980s. Large and muscular black cat seen mostly at night on Vesta Road. So that is, man, that's like out there past Underwood Road. You start getting further out there towards 231. And I don't even want to know what's beyond 231. I've partied out there late at night before, and it ain't pretty either. You feel like something's watching you all the time. I'm 44, and back when my daddy used to coon hunt with Jim and Tanks... Whoop, name's protected, my bad. I'm 44, and back when my daddy used to coon hunt, several of the Glade boys, they told some stories about something bigger than a coon in the top of the trees. It would scream some nights like a woman and come through the treetops while they ran away. Nobody ever seen it. That was in the late 60s and through the 70s. A lot of nights we would be outside, and he would say, "Hush," and then say, "There's the Vesta Monster." I'd get scared and run inside. Nights I wouldn't come in when Mama called and it was dark, she'd say, the Vesta Monster gonna get you," and my tail was gone. I heard it tonight, same way I heard it 27 years ago after me and Daddy put out tomato plants here. I went in to shower, and when I got out, he had the sliding glass door open and said, "Come here, listen, it's the Vesta Monster." What I heard that night raised the hair on my arms and put tears in my 16-year-old eyes. I'd heard stories from a lot of people about it, but I finally met the monster. Tonight, I heard it on the same spot I did 27 years ago, just further away, right behind the same garden spot. I don't know. Just be careful if you're out there coon hunting. A lot of us old-timers have known about it for years, thought it had gone away, but apparently not. It has made its way over to Fellowship Road, too. We have heard it, but never seen anything. It makes a noise like nothing we have ever heard. Wife and I just moved into the area about a year ago. Got family in East Tennessee, so I grew up in the woods and backcountry backpacking and never really get spooked. Was out a couple months ago working in my backyard and heard a very nearby high-pitched wail and got that feeling that something close by was watching. Now I stay strapped up when I'm out working outside at night. Glad to know I'm not the only one who has heard something out there. It's a 4-foot white blur blue Bigfoot thing. I live on Couchville and we had that cougar come through. That was a crazy sound, but not the scariest. So we back up to Long Hunter and the Corps of Engineers on about 27 acres. No close neighbors at all. One night, I was out putting my chickens up about dusk. I plain as day heard something from the woods say, "Hello there." I froze in place and decided to pretend I didn't hear anything because I had to lock up the chickens. I took a few steps and it said, "Hello." Don't love that. I bolted my tail to the house. I didn't care if raccoons ate up every last chicken I owned. I ran for my life. I was speed itself, lightning from a bottle. I was running like it was hot on my heels. Got inside and my husband was like, "What's wrong? Why are you all sweaty?" We set the dog out, who is very protective of our property, and he found nothing. If a person had been out there, he would have found them. The next day, I couldn't go down there alone, so my husband and I went together to put up the chickens. Every single coop door was already locked up. Chicken had been free-ranging all day. Neither one of us did it. It's a good thing I had cut a path the night before, but we took off, blazing for the door. That is terrifying. I work at Amazon on the corner of 840 and Central Pike, and we had a guard to quit quite abruptly about 2 weeks ago. He said he saw Bigfoot walking around the lot of trailers behind the building. He asked for an immediate transfer or he was going to quit. First thing I said was, "It's the Vesta Monster." We're thinking of putting up Sasquatch crossing signs nearby. So there you go. If you're out in Gladeville, Tennessee, man, be on the lookout. Keep an ear to the ground. You never know what's out there with you.